Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So in this one we are unboxing the Chromecast with Google TV and the Google Stadia controller. So these are currently part of a bundle that Google is doing, I guess to get more people interested in being able to buy Stadia as a bit of a bundle. So this is the Play and Watch bundle, which we picked up for $89.99 in the UK, and I believe it's the same price over in the US as well. So this replaces the previous older hardware that Google had been offering, and a lot of people kind of complaining that you had to pick up really old hardware to play on your TV. And although you can currently download the Stadia app, we wanted to be able to test out and see what difference this made, and definitely what difference the controller made, because this has quite a few little benefits that we're looking forward to trying out. So let's get on with the unboxing, and then we'll get over onto our first initial impressions. So we're kind of spoiled for choice today. I don't know which one to go for first. You know what, I'm going to go for the Chromecast just because in the initial unboxing it's probably less to see, and then we'll have a play with the Google Stadia controller. So this, basically, you can get an Ethernet adapter as well. So if you are wanting to have it plugged in and not have any of that sort of Wi-Fi dropout or latency issues, then you can pick it up. I think it's like $10 or £10 extra. So how do I get, oh, just simple little box there. So with this, you get obviously the Google Chromecast, which supports Android TV, which is a nifty little thing, so it'll be fun to have a bit of a play with that. Currently, my setup for using Stadia on the big screen is using an old NVIDIA Shield TV, which does the trick, does it really nicely, don't have any issues with it. But I figure this would be nice to kind of use it in the office and just try out kind of Google's full integration. I like this, it has this kind of like material packaging rather than just that plastic wrap that so many things seem to have. So nice to see they're taking the environment into consideration. And here we have our little Android TV puck. So this will plug into the HDMI on the TV or your monitor or whatever you're using it on. And then you have a USB Type-C connection down at the bottom there. So that's nice to see. Again, we're moving away from the day-old age of micro USB. So if you have something like an on-the-go cable already, if you have a hub, you should hopefully be able to plug in multiple things here. One thing I'll try out is to see whether or not you can plug in like a mouse and a keyboard. I assume you'll be able to, but you know what? Don't make assumptions because we know what happens there. So I'll try that out and see if you can like plug in like Ethernet cables and everything else. What else comes in the box? So the remote, which I assume will come in a equally fancy little fabric bag. If I can get in there. Ooh. Okay, so relatively inoffensive, nice lightweight. So you've got a little slot for your batteries as well. So you don't have to worry about charging, I suppose. YouTube button and a Netflix button, so you have dedicated keys there. Google Assistant on the top. Mute button, I guess, which is kind of handy. Home and your back. And then you've got this sort of like jog wheel, which looks pretty nifty. It's relatively nice to hold. You're probably not going to lose it down the side of the sofa too much because it's thick enough. My only criticism, I guess, is that it's all this kind of white. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got kids and they're really grubby little creatures, to be fair. So this isn't going to be white for too long, but at least I assume it's not. Right, let's pop that down there. What else comes in the box? Okay, so your little get started manual. Okay, and I assume, yeah. So USB Type A to USB Type C. So that's for your charging and plugging it in. When I say charging, it just needs to be plugged in. And then your wall plug as well. Oh, that's quite nifty. I suppose you kind of assume it, but a lot of the time it doesn't come with these things. Some batteries as well for the remote, because that would be absolutely heartbreaking to get that and then not be able to play with it. So let's pop that aside. Let's get on with, in my opinion, the main event, which is the Stadia controller. So obviously we have covered Google Stadia a fair bit, and we've heard some really good things about the Google Stadia controller, but to be honest, I've never actually been hands-on. I was going to pick up the old bundle that they did, but again, as with the same sort of reason as a lot of people out there, I didn't want to pick it up because it was relatively old hardware, and it just seemed kind of pointless since I had the NVIDIA Shield TV. Now, the benefit of something like the Google Stadia controller is, oops, that was a relatively big drop. Oh, and I like that. Kind of comes out pretty much on display straight away. So the benefit of something like this is apparently how the technology inside of this works is it hooks directly up to the Stadia server. So uses your device and then goes straight through to the server rather than using your device to like connect via Bluetooth to then control the input on your device, which then sends a signal to the Google server, which just helps to remove some of that input lag and everything else, just making that experience even smoother. And oh, that feels really, really weird. I'm going to pop that aside, we'll come back to that. What else is in the box? So USB Type A to USB Type C cable in there, and then your getting started guide. Again, all kind of nice recyclable material, so if that sort of thing is on your radar, well done Google. Now let's have a look at the controller itself. So straight away, first impression, that feels really, really weird. You might not be able to pick it up on camera. I'll try and hold it like so to sort of pick it up in certain lights, but it's got this really odd textured plastic on there, and it feels, I mean, it's definitely not smooth, it's really, really grippy. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it feels really nice. Like, as soon as you hold it, it's just really comfortable. Now, I've always been quite a fan of like the old PlayStation controllers with the bits that are sticking out there, and I quite like that layout. I have got more used to Xbox in terms of, I guess, the joystick layout, but this, feels really nice and comfortable at first hold. Buttons, so yeah, L3 and your R3 feel good. Joysticks, I don't know, maybe I've got sticky fingers or something like that at the moment. They feel quite sticky on the thumbs and odd. I'll have to get a second opinion from Liam at some point, but they feel like oddly sticky. A D-pad, really good range of motion, decent click, and your A, X, Y, and B feel less satisfying. I mean, these buttons all have a really good tactile feel, but your A, X, Y, and B, not so much. That feels relatively mushy. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great either. Menu buttons feel alright, again, pretty average. And then your triggers, so your L1, R1, feels good. Your triggers feel good as well. I like, they've got a nice little curve on there, you might be able to pick it up on the camera, hold it up for the overhead. So a decent hold there, it's a really comfortable controller to use. So what I tend to find is whenever I'm using, I guess, anything like an Xbox controller, I tend to kind of grip it weirdly, and I only use like one finger on either side, which is probably a very terrible way to play, especially for shooters and stuff. This feels comfortable enough that I could probably hold it and, you know, do a bit of multitasking. I'm not very good at games, as you can probably tell by the way I hold controllers. So yeah, look and feel of it, feels really good, very comfortable, decent weight, it's not too heavy, not too light, it feels premium. I absolutely love that textured finish on it. That feels so good. Smooth on top, because obviously you're not really going to be gripping it too much there. That bottom feeling of it just feels fantastic. Buttons, you know, yeah, L3 and R3, D-pad all feel pretty good. The rest of them feel relatively average, but your triggers and your bumpers, they're pretty good as well. Other things to note on this, so you have a USB Type-C for your charging on the top there, or I guess plugging directly into a device, and also a headphone jack on the bottom, which again is a welcome addition. I assume that is a microphone, which is quite interesting. Does it say anywhere on the box? Let's have a quick look. So kind of spec-wise, obviously you've got things like Wi-Fi, so you know this will connect directly to the Wi-Fi like we mentioned earlier, and that sends the input signal directly to Stadia, so it just kind of bypasses that extra step which helps improve latency and stuff like that, which is a massive deal when you're doing anything like cloud gaming. So I'll be really interested to see what sort of improvement this makes. In fairness to Stadia, out of all the cloud gaming services that we have tried, it's always been the best to have had the least amount of latency anyway, so I guess we'll see. Yeah, so it doesn't say anything on the actual box here. So it's got a headphone jack, 3.5mm headphone jack for headsets with or without a microphone. So whether or not that does mean that it has a microphone, we'll have to test it out a bit later. But yeah, all in all, a really, really nice feeling. So what we'll do now is we'll kind of skip ahead and get this plugged in, set up, and then we'll come back with some just first impressions of how it all works, what it's like, and we'll go from there. Obviously, we will have a full review of this as well coming in the future, so make sure you hit subscribe so you can catch that. But yeah, let's skip ahead to our first impressions. Okay, so that is all set up now, and at the moment I've got Stadia connected using this. So obviously we've got the Google TV Chromecast just underneath my monitor here, and this is connected. I'm just charging it at the moment because it was relatively short on battery. To be honest, the setup process is really simple and easy to do. There wasn't really any sort of teething issues. You will need to use, ideally, something like a phone and have the Google Home app on there, because it just makes it a hell of a lot easier setting it all up and get things like your Wi-Fi password and network connections and just accounts hooked up to it. So that is definitely one thing. As you can see, this is all working nicely. I've got to say, it's good. It's hard to say anything kind of amazing about it at this stage, just because we've only had a little while to play with it, and our experience with Stadia has always been relatively good when it comes to input lag. Definitely seems to make a little bit of a difference, but again, it's hard to see it when it was already pretty good. I do really like this controller though. Like I said during the unboxing, it feels so good. It's very responsive, it's nice to use, and everything feels pretty good on there. Now, we mentioned in the unboxing about the USB Type-C, and I'm happy to say that I have a USB-C hub plugged into the bottom of the Chromecast, and I'm able to hook up things like a mouse and a keyboard, so I can then navigate through the user interface, and I don't have to worry too much about buying something official from Google. Mine also has an Ethernet adapter in that USB-C hub, and that's plugged in and all working perfectly fine. So if you already have an existing USB Type-C hub that you want to be able to use with this, then you will be able to do that, which is a massive win. In terms of this controller, I actually really like it. So small, compact, feels pretty good, some tactile buttons on there. User interface for this, again, if you've used anything like Android TV already, it's going to be something that you're used to. One thing that I really liked about it during the setup process is it asked what applications I wanted to use and what I was subscribed to already, and then it installed them. So rather than, unlike some that just come pre-installed with absolutely loads of bloatware and then you have to go through and install it, this gives you that option to install whatever it is that you want to have on there, which is a big win. So for $89.99, this seems like a pretty good deal. If you don't already have some kind of hardware that allows you to use Google Stadia on the TV, or if you want something that's going to give you access to all of your media on the big screen, then this seems like a pretty good bundle. For $89.99, you get a really solid controller, you get a streaming stick which gives you access to all of your different applications. It's a very nice user interface, and it all just works really nicely, so you can't go too far wrong. If you're already a Google Stadia user and you don't have access to it on the big screen TV, then this seems like a pretty good bundle, so it's worthwhile getting hold of. Everything feels solid, looks good, and it all just works really well. It comes with the added bonus of being able to do all of your media and get access to Android TV on your Google Chromecast. So we'll be doing a full review of this over the next couple of weeks, but we just want to have some good hands-on time with this to make sure it kind of lives up to our expectations, see how this actually works, and just what this bundle is like. So if you've got any questions or anything you want us to explore, by all means, throw those down in the comments below, and we'll do our best to answer those questions and make sure we explore what you want us to explore and find out about it. In the meantime, hope you've enjoyed that video, and if you have, hit that like button, because it just helps the channel to grow and gets this video out to more people. We'll be back in the future with some more awesome content, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and come along for that. See you soon. Bye.